I'm Amber Davies and welcome to Call to Stage. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome back to Call to Stage with me, Amber Davies. Now, I first saw this woman sing about 2 years ago, right? And ever since I saw that moment, I've seen her name everywhere and I'm obsessed. Please welcome the Olivier nominee, Mayli McCann.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Also known as Frankie.
Yes, I go by Frankie.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I literally saw you 2 years ago when you did the Jeremy Jordan concert.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I actually saw you on stage. Like, I'd always heard of your name and knew kind of you. And then I was just like, obsessed. Obsessed. And actually, me and Ben went to see Jeremy Jordan after, and you were there. And I was like,
yes, that's the first time I met you. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Amber.
That was cool, that concert.
I mean, that's pretty iconic.
Yeah. Like, I knew he was coming, and then when he asked me to come and sing the Bonnie stuff, I was like, okay. Yeah.
That's like a big moment.
Yeah.
Right, I've asked every single one of my guests this. Pick any role you've ever done.
Okay.
Pre-show ritual.
Oh God, how much time have we got? Honestly, I'm really bad for it. Like, I'll do the bubble straw. Okay. I'll have a little siren on a kazoo.
Okay.
And most of the time people are like, what's that sound? Why have you got a kazoo? It's kind of like the bubble straw, but just quicker. And have a Jakeman's. And then I'm usually ready by like the half, right?
You're an early girl.
But I will just like mess about until the 5.
Okay.
Or beginners. I'm always the last person on stage. And I rush to get changed at beginners because I hate waiting.
Yeah.
Like, if I am on stage at beginners...
Like pacing.
Yeah. And then the curtain doesn't go up because, you know, they're holding front of house or something. I can't. That's what makes me nervous.
Okay.
I can't stand on stage. I just need to step on stage and go. Because the waiting is what makes me really anxious. And I guess when we did the Bonnie and Clyde concert, that was crazy, right? We had 5 days rehearsal. So in the dressing room, it's like, what am I about to do right now? And the only way to calm down was stick music on. So now, since then, I'll have like a little pre-show playlist.
Okay.
Like my Beyonce, my Lizzo.
Love.
And I sing Mariah Carey Fantasy. Because not only is it such a good tune, and it's like feel good, but if you listen to it, she does everything. She covers all the notes, all the riffs, the whistle. So I'm like, yep, that's it. She's there. She's warm.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually going to write that down.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey Fantasy. I'll be listening to that
Fantasy
tonight
and
the show.
Emotions is good as well.
Emotions.
Old school Mariah.
Fantasy. I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to this before the show tonight, and then I'll message you tonight.
Yeah, do.
And be like, I was clean.
Because it's also like really fun. So yeah, just some feel good music to like get me going.
I love that. And I love that you have a Jakeman's because I do too.
Oh yeah.
Is it every show?
Every show.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like if I don't have one, I think
I'm dry.
I might not be there tonight.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's interesting because you've worked so much, which we're going to cover in a minute. So you still, every time you get on stage, do you still have those butterflies and nerves?
Oh my God, yeah. And I actually think it's gotten worse.
With age?
Yeah. I put more pressure on myself, and I guess maybe like the roles that I play now have just gotten bigger and I've got more responsibility and more to do, that I put pressure on myself to be perfect. And it's like, no, that's not the thing. Just go out and enjoy it and stop like, you know, trying to strive for perfection.
Yeah. And do you feel like with nerves, it's worse when you do a concert?
Yeah. That's really scary because it's not rehearsed and actually you have very little time.
And it's not in your voice as much.
Exactly. Yeah. I've done like a few concerts just like, you know, of singing pop songs and things. But then the concerts, the one-off kind of like musical concerts that you only have 5 days to rehearse a full show, and it's not a concert where you're standing there with, the music and the lines in front of you. It's off book and it's basically a fully staged show.
I know, it is,
That is really scary. And you've only got one night to do it.
It gives me shivers.
Yeah. But then
you've got one chance and one chance only.
It's like, okay, that's it, done. But then actually you go back and you're like, oh, could have done this, could have done that. I wish I had another shot. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
But
riding.
really good for growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you learn so much and you have to pick up things quickly, and it's like, a test for the brain, for the stamina, the endurance. And what I will say is I've done quite a few with Nick Winston, and he's like so on it, so methodical, and he's like, he knows exactly everything he wants to do and is so prepared when he comes in that's really good for the way I work as well. It's like, cool, we know exactly what we're doing here.
So you're not in like a workshop stage. Oh, we could do this, we could do that.
He's like, so prepared. Yeah, which is a great way to work because you don't have time. You don't have time to waste on these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you trained in Glasgow.
I did.
So you're from Glasgow.
I am, yeah.
And you trained at the Glasgow Academy Musical Theatre Arts. So how old were you when you went to college?
I left school at 16.
Okay.
And went straight to college for 3 years. Yeah. And that was it. I mean, so GAMTA was like a stage school in the beginning. So I went there from like 10 years old, alongside school, 3 days a week, all day Saturday. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And then when I got to 16, I was like, right, well, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, 16 is so young. I didn't look around and I didn't go to London. I didn't want to be in London by myself at that age. And they were in their second year of this college course. And I thought, perfect.
Yeah.
I know what this school's like. I know the training that I'm going to get, and I get to stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's worked out.
I love that.
But I always think, like, especially for anyone that's wanting to get into it, like, look around.
Yeah.
Find the best fit for you, but also like the formal college training isn't everything.
No. And also, it actually doesn't matter what college you train at. It's the amount of work you put in.
I always say that.
Yeah.
It's like how much work you're willing to put in is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
did you always know that you wanted to do this as a career? Or when did it click?
Well, okay, so when I auditioned for the stage school, I didn't really know musicals.
Did you not?
My musical theatre knowledge is terrible.
Okay.
Right. I still, I only just saw Fiddler on the Roof and I had no idea what it was about. I'd never seen it before. I was like, oh yeah, I know this song. But when I was like 10, I auditioned and everyone had their sheet music, Les Mis and all that. And I was like, I've got a CD. I'm going to sing Spice Girls.
Oh.
And I did the moves and everything.
No, you didn't.
And I got in and then was like, oh, we do musicals. Okay. So I wanted to be a pop star, but how do you become a pop star?
Yeah.
So then did my training in stage school, musical theatre, and that's just
how it developed that way. Yeah. So you always had a cracking voice on you.
I liked to sing. Yeah.
Okay. It was a good good feeling. I love that. Yeah. Did you remember what Dad sing?
No.
So it's just you?
Mm-hmm.
You got any siblings?
I have 4 older sisters and 1 little brother.
Did any of them sing?
Like my older sister, Bernie, she can sing. She teaches herself to play all sorts of instruments.
Oh, wow.
But she doesn't do it professionally. She just does it for herself.
I love that. Yeah. So there is something in the gene, maybe.
Yeah.
I wonder, if there was... Have you ever done, an ancestor?
I've not. But I think it's... So my gran is from Dublin, the Irish side. I think they had some sort of, performing gene on that side. So, yeah, I think it comes from there.
So your dad's Scottish and Irish?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you started off on television?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my first job out of college.
So started off on TV in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Against all odds, River City, and you were a finalist on Britannia High.
Oh my God.
Is that like a blast from the past?
Yes.
I've been digging up on Wikipedia.
My God, Britannia High. That was, I think I was still in college. And yeah, all the way to the finals. And I think you can see footage on YouTube, of the finals. You'll see Pixie Lott and Ed Sheeran and me with my big block fringe and God knows what I was wearing, going through an emo stage or something. And yeah.
So you had a very fruitful start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Experience-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Against All Odds thing was, I was younger.
Yes.
And
that was CBBC, wasn't it?
Yeah. River City, Lip Service. So I was in Scotland. I didn't move to London as soon as I graduated. I stayed in Scotland, did a bit of TV, and then I got my first London job, and that's when I've moved and kind of stayed here.
But that's what I've noticed when I was kind of doing my research and getting in the nitty gritty. I noticed you have done a lot, not just theatre work, you've done a lot of TV as well.
Yeah, and I'm mostly, I say, doing screen now for like the past year.
I know, because you've just finished filming a crime series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Called Department Q.
Oh my God, is that out? Yeah.
Is it out now?
It's not out, but I didn't know that.
It's out.
It says that I'm doing it online. Oh, fine, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yes. I have found that out.
Great. Okay, we can talk about it.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But first, I'm just going to read all of the stuff you've done.
Okay.
So just be like, here we go. Deep breath. You originated Kyla in Our Ladies of Perpetual Succor, which you were up for a Best Actress in a Supporting Role at the Oliviers. Yeah. That's crazy. We'll come back to that in a minute. Then you went back to TV, did Shetland as Nikki, A Tale to Tell on Amazon, Little Shop of Horrors, The Great Wave, Here Loves Love, Evita, Eponine and Les Mis tour, cut short because of COVID. Sad times. I wish I could see you in that. You'd be amazing.
I wish I could do it again.
Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World, Heathers, Chess, Death Note at the Palladium, Peter Pan. You're a Palladium girl, aren't you? You are a Palladium girl. And then, which we'll talk about again in a minute, original West End cast of Bonnie and Clyde as Bonnie. Up for a WhatsOnStage Award with that for Best Performer. And you did the Jeremy Jordan concert involved in that. Obviously, I've missed loads of things out, but these are the ones that I was just like, oh my gosh. So first, oh no, your West End debut was Priscilla. And then you returned as Cynthia.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have had a career and a half so far. And it feels like it's just starting and it's, do you know what I mean?
I was thinking about this the other day and it was like, oh, you look on social media and you see all these exciting things and it's like, oh, I want to do something. But actually, I've done a lot. It just wasn't back in the social media day where you hype it up and everyone's like, oh, look what everyone's doing. Comparing yourself on socials is so bad. It's so unhealthy.
But you've done so much.
But you forget because you're always like looking towards the next thing. Do you find that? Like even when you're in a job and it's, you're counting the weeks till you finish, you're like, what am I doing next? Well, what's happening in my life?
I tell you what, my mother's a mental health nurse.
Oh, right? Okay, cool.
And what I've learned and what she's taught me as I grow older is I do take time to look back and be grateful for the experiences that I've had because I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I try now to focus less about what's coming and actually be grateful for what I've done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you literally have non-stopped work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you feel like, did you ever think you were going to have a career like that?
No, absolutely not. And also, I guess I didn't come into it going, oh, I want to do musicals and I'm desperate to do this, this and this. I didn't have like a really big wish list. And I think the turning point in that was doing Our Ladies.
Yeah.
Because it was a brand new piece of theatre. Yeah. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what to expect. Had so much fun. And the way that snowballed and what came after, like just changed my whole outlook of work and what it is that I want to do. Like even now I'm like, I don't know what lies ahead, but it's really exciting because I've managed to do, musicals and plays and screen, that it's just nice to keep changing it.
Yeah. It's like you're really versatile. Like you're like, I'm just a belter and that's it. And I only do musicals that have been movies where you're like, you've done so much. So when you saw that you were up for an Olivier, how old were you?
What year was it? Was it 2017? So I was like 26.
Up for an Olivier at 26 years old for a brand new musical.
Yeah. So the thing is, right, and I say, oh, my musical theatre knowledge is terrible and everything. I didn't really follow the Oliviers before. I don't really know what they were. Okay. That's really bad to admit. But I remember it was like 10 a.m. or something. I was sitting in the flat. I was in my pajamas because I was like really lazy morning. And my friend Dawn, who's in the show with me, just phoned me and was like, we've just been nominated for an Olivier. And I was like, what? She's like, go and check online right now. And I checked my laptop and I was like, oh my God, like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And the show was nominated for Best New Comedy, which it won.
Oh, did it win?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we got up on that stage. It was just like unreal.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
And so actually, that's so lovely that you didn't actually know how much weight that held. You were just kind of like
really unexpected, and which was so nice because you're not kind of like, oh, I hope that we get recognised.
Yeah.
And that really sums up the whole story of the show.
Yeah.
We started at the Edinburgh Fringe and we were just having fun with this show that we created, and we ended up getting loads of awards at the Fringe, like, oh, this is really cool. And then went on tour thinking that would be it, like just a little UK tour. And then the following year we did an international tour, which finished at the National. And then the following year after that, we were in the West End. So we didn't see any of that coming. It just kept growing and we just kept going along for the ride.
I like that though, no expectations.
Exactly.
So you can never be disappointed.
Yeah.
So you've toured and you've done town, haven't you? Which one tickles your fancy the most?
Town.
Really?
So I think I did like a really big tour when I was younger, which was so much fun. Like I always think it's really great to do.
Yeah.
Like number one, I got to see the country. I was like, you know, top Scotland to the bottom of England. It was great. It was really long. So I don't think I could do that again. Because now I'm in London and I'm set up here and it's just nice to go home every night.
Yeah.
And be in the one place.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
What I find sometimes with town is it can be a little bit like Groundhog Day. Because you do the same commute, you're in the same dressing room, you do the same show. I think that's why I've maybe enjoyed touring more than I thought. Simply because doing the show in different venues is quite special.
Yeah.
The different sound.
Audiences.
The theatre, different audiences, the vibe they give you, like it feels constantly fresh.
Yeah.
But saying that, I would love to go back and stand. I'm exhausted. So I want to talk to you about, firstly, I had no idea you were in Heathers until I had a look.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way, were you in Heathers? I've never seen the show.
Have you not?
Never. I'm gutted.
You'd be great in Heathers.
Do you think?
Oh my God, perfect. Yes.
I've never seen it. I've always worked when it's been on. And we've always had the same schedule.
You need to do Heathers.
Did you love it?
So good. It was so much fun. But you know what? It was right after / during pandemic. Okay. It was like one of the first things to come back. And I loved the show. My husband, Chris, he was like original Kurt. So I'd seen it loads. And then when it came to town and I did it, it was fun, but it was also quite scary. Like I can remember looking out in the Haymarket audience. It was like the two spaces, the two seats empty between everyone and the masks. And then halfway through the run, it was like full house.
Okay.
So it was quite an adjustment and quite, an experience.
I know, when you actually think about that.
Yeah.
Like,
but a really fortunate and lucky thing to be part of because Heathers has such a massive fan base.
It does.
So
it's
everyone was like,
six.
oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
blew always
up.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you feel like you created quite a big fan base from that?
Yeah. And you know what was really nice was coming out of the pandemic and everyone was like, we have just been desperate for theatre to come back, but also this show means so much to people.
Yeah.
So just hearing those stories was really nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're part of that like family.
Yeah.
And then I haven't got long left with you, so I'm going to just talk really quick. This is the problem when someone's got such an amazing career. Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I didn't even get to see you in that because I was working at the
did
same
you
time.
not?
Do you remember that time I saw you on the Strand?
Yes.
I bumped into you.
Yeah.
Me and Ben bumped into Frankie on the Strand, and then when we walked away, we both looked at each other. Bear in mind, we don't know you. We're like, love her. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Did you always see yourself as a Bonnie?
No.
Never?
God, never. I never thought I would get to play a role like that. So it was actually during Heathers that my agent phoned and was like, so you know this concert that's happening? And I was like, yeah. Well, they'd like you to go in and just sing for Bonnie. And I was like, what? Me? And even after I got the job for so long, months even, I was like, me. I'm getting to play Bonnie. Because number one, Bonnie's a real person. She wasn't of Asian heritage, which is a huge thing. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that and not have it mean anything about, you know, the colour of her skin or her heritage or background.
Yeah.
So that was a, you know, really life-changing thing. Yeah, for months after, I was like, I can't believe that I'm getting this opportunity.
I love that.
Dying Ain't So Bad was in my rep for so long.
Do you know, I've heard you sing it.
I love it. It's such a good song.
Where can we find you singing Dying Ain't So Bad?
So you can find it on YouTube, but Bonnie and Clyde is available to stream or purchase from bonnieclydelive.com.
Okay. And that's in your bio on Instagram because I saw it this morning. I'm going to do that tonight. Was the story heavy to tell every night? Like, where did you find that every night? You know, it's not a heavy show. Like, it's not giving Les Mis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got a lot of comedy in it, and also it's funny one because they're outlaws, right? They're infamous.
Yeah.
And the story, you actually root for them the way it's written.
Yeah, you do.
And you're kind of conflicted. You're like, why do I want them to live when they've just killed a bunch of people and they're robbing stores and everything and banks? But they do have a heart. They start off so young and you see their journey from beginning to end. So, you know, Bonnie's this young girl with hopes and dreams and she wants to be a star. She falls madly in love with Clyde and then, you know, he wants to be Al Capone. So she goes along for the ride. And in a way, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to be famous. It's not the way that I want to be famous, but, you know, at the end of the day, I've done it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, working with Jordan, so much fun.
I'm dying to get him on here.
Yeah, you need to. But yeah, it was just so much fun, like playing that whole character arc. And she's so fierce.
Yeah.
Which is...
Bonnie is like you, though. You're fierce.
Like, I think that's why I was easy to tap into.
Yeah.
She just goes from 0 to 100.
I know.
Which I can do quite easily.
That's a Scottish in you, that is.
Absolutely.
I love that. Would you say that is one of your career highlights?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought so.
Yeah, changed everything. And there's always like one moment in the concert that I'll never forget. And it was the end of the first song, Picture Show. And it goes straight into the scene. And at the end, that applause... The sound of that applause at the Drury Lane Theatre, I will never forget. Because I turned around and I was just like, oh my God, they're still going. They're still going. And I turned around to start the scene and I just had to stop myself from saying the first line, which was amazing. Because, you know, it was also quite scary stepping in to that role, having, you know, OG Broadway shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But the UK, the London audiences really welcomed me. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
Such an amazing feeling.
Yeah. All I ever heard was that you were... in a different league. You know, you are absolutely phenomenal.
Oh.
Now, quickly then, before we finish, I want to ask you about this new crime series you've been filming on Netflix called Department Q. Audition process for that. Is auditioning for TV different to theatre?
Yeah, so a lot now is done by self-tape.
Okay.
So that's maybe like your first port of call. And then... you know, depending on the size of the role, you might get another one or you get a straight offer or go into the office. So I did a self-tape and then went into the office to meet them. And originally the part I was up for, I didn't get. I thought, oh, okay. And then maybe like 2 months later, they phoned and offered me a different part. And I was like, oh, amazing. So, you know, as hard on yourself as you can be for not booking something you really want, you just never know how it's going to play out.
No. And what's meant for you will not pass you by.
Oh my God. Big believer of that.
Say you were going to do a self-tape for something in the West End and then something for Netflix. Do you alter the way that you will act? Okay.
Yeah. TV is so small and usually I'll frame it a lot closer.
Okay.
And then when I do something for a musical, I'll have it wider so you can see more of me.
That's a really good tip for our listeners, that is, you know. That is, you've given them a top tip. Actually, you've given me a top tip. Not that I've ever auditioned for Netflix, but that's really interesting because it's more about detail. Telly's more about detail.
Eyes,
And do you feel like being on set, like what's the difference between like being on set for like 6 months or whatever to having a live audience?
Well, the thing is, like, even though, say you're booked for like 6 months, you're not in every day of 6 months. You might only be used for 2 weeks. And then the rest of the time, you're just
chilling.
doing you know? Whereas if you're 6 months of theatre, you're in, 8 shows a week.
Yeah, it's a different.
So, yeah, it's totally different scheduling wise, which is really nice to change up. That's why I like doing different things.
Yeah.
I
love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people think you can't cross the theatre TV world. Frankie is literally a perfect example of you can do everything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like years ago, that was the case. It's like you do one or the other. And now it's not. The line is moving. It's blurry. Yeah. And I think, look at Hannah Waddingham. Look what she's done. Incredible. And I think I speak for everyone in musical theatre and we go, oh my gosh, if she can do it, she's an advocate for us. We can all do it.
Yeah.
And in America as well. Yeah. Love you.
America, though, have a different opinion. They bow down to people who are on Broadway.
Like you look at people like Hamilton cast, their OG Hamilton cast, they're all like, woo.
Yeah. It's completely different there where like apparently, this is word on the street, is that any TV casting producer literally thinks anyone who performs on Broadway is top tier.
Wow. Yeah. That's so nice, isn't it?
To New York.
Yeah, let's.
I love that. And then the last thing I want to ask you is there anything on your absolute bucket list for your career? I mean, you are I don't think you actually have processed how successful you've been. You're so nonchalant about it. You're unbelievable.
I'll tell it's not like, one of those jobs where you progress. It's not one of those jobs where you get promoted and you become the boss of the company. Every time I finish a job, I start again.
I know.
I don't just think, I'm too good for this. Like, I start from the bottom because you never know when that next job's going to come, and just stay grounded.
It's like our inner child, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm back to being a grad again.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
How I
don't know what's going to happen, who's going to employ me, but yeah.
Is there anything on your bucket list?
So, coming out of college, I was like, there's shows I really want to do, and playing Eponine was one of those.
Tick.
So I got to do it, and I was like, amazing, I ticked that off. And it's kind of changed. I think I would love to do like a series or a film and do like some action.
Ooh!
Like, I don't know, like a spy or
I can
superhero or something. Like, yeah.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. Yeah. I'm going to come back to this clip in like 5 years' time. When you're like an A-list celebrity. I'm like, do you remember me? I interviewed you once. Well, thank you so much. You're an absolute delight.
This was so much fun.
Thanks for listening.